What's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. I didn't get a chance to come back last night, y'all. After it froze. For anyone that was here last night, you know that towards the end it froze up, and you could hear me, and we could still communicate, but there was no visual. And I probably would have continued if it had froze with me not looking like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Like, if it had been a good picture, like, hey, we froze, but we just gonna work on it. But I looked like crap, so we just gonna go ahead and end that. It's an executive decision type thing. So I ended it, but I wasn't done. And then when I watched it back, I realized I was so not done, because it's always important to me to communicate a complete thought. Whatever your feelings and thoughts will be, or however you follow up after you've been exposed to me, is fine. But I have to do my jurisprudence to be sure that I've completely communicated what it is that I wanted to bring across to you. And one of the glaring things that I realized, because I was dealing with several topics, and one of the things that stood out to me was when I spoke about the census, because I had meant to get into the consequence of that. There was more to the weight of why that's a problem, over and above it being good news, that there needed to be an explanation of the fallout. So I want to address that, and I also want to be a little more complete on my information about Afghanistan. I thought I kind of tied that into a bow, but not the way that I'm not pleased with where it was left. I think I'll take a moment to just shout out who's here right now. And also, the other reason why I didn't come back is because once I click on it or something, like, it still has the live chat there. That's why I wanted to come back, because I wanted to read your comments. I was not done reading your comments, but if you, I click back or something, and you can still get the video, but the live chat is not there. So I wasn't going to be able to read your comments. So I'm like, okay, that's not going to work. In fact, let me go and see if they're there from yesterday. They are. We at least have access to them. So what I will endeavor to do is probably go over there towards the end, or just whenever I feel the inspiration or something like that, I'll just kind of know, and I'll try and because I was interested in those comments. I'm always interested in your comments. It's important to me whenever we're together that that I hear what you're saying and read your comments. So God willing, I will do that. For today, I want to shout out Sean Scott. Shout out to you, Sean. You say good afternoon, Jedi. Salute to the melanated family out there. Melanin 100, shout out to you. And also, before I go any further, also Bad Girl was really passionate about something that she was trying to bring to my attention, and I saw between yesterday and right now that there was something else that she communicated and sent me a link. So I want to be I want to try and allot some time to see what that is and see what I need to do in that. She's really passionate about it. So anytime you bring something to my attention, I appreciate it. But certainly, if you are bringing something to my attention, you're expressing some sort of urgency or real like passion about it, then I'm gonna turn my head to that, and see what's up. So Melanin 100, shout out to you. Shalom and salam. I was watching your last live stream, then saw you live stream pop up. So we was in that same energy space. Cheryl, another shout out to you. Um, you say, good afternoon, Jedi, salute to the Melanin family. No, that's Sean. I'm reading Cheryl. Um, hey, Jedi hearts, miss you already, King. 40 Shorty, glad to see you came back. Big shout out to you. You back. Cheryl says, it don't matter, Jedi. Just glad you back again today. Allahu Akbar. Salute to you. You're shouting out Sean. Coming in the chat, everybody, thumbs up, yes. Hit that like button. Sean is shouting back to Cheryl. Cheryl, all who are new to this channel, please subscribe to it and make sure you subscribe to his backup channel, Jedi Africa. I love you for that, Cheryl. Thank you so much. And it reminds me, yes, indeed, you guys, I can't do anything without you, and I'm only here because of you. Um, and so I said in a recent stream as we were live, I said, listen, anybody who's watching me, I need you to subscribe to my channel. Even if you're going to unsubscribe after the chat or tomorrow or what, you don't got to stick with me if you don't want to. I'm fine with that. I'm trying to conduct an experiment because my subscriber count has been at 3,380 for like 3 years. Like it hasn't even moved like one, like, okay, now, So the only way I can prove that there is some bullshit afoot is you got to subscribe so that those numbers show. And then we prove or disprove my suspicion. That's the only way I can do it. There's no other way for me to do it. No other way. So if you're watching me, even if you're watching the recorded video now that you're not here live, but maybe the stream is over and you're seeing it, I need you to still carry that out. You can make yourself a note if you don't want to stay subscribed to me. I'm fine with that. I'm asking you to participate in a fact-finding mission with me. Will you just help me out? And 40 Shorty says, they had me in social media prison, bro, but I stood tall. And you know what I've been through, you know. So it's just, but think about it. All the shit that goes on in just this country, we're not even saying the world, just in this asshole of the devil, this stench of humanity. That so much attention and reaction. They're so concerned with me, what my voice is and what I have to say. I mean, my big channel, they shut down, 23,000 subscribers, over 2,000 videos, nearly 5 million views on the channel. I'm that dangerous? Really? I mean, am I really? You know what I mean? Like, no self-aggrandizing, just like if it wasn't me, just anybody. I'm not a world leader. I'm not a president. I'm not an elected official. What? I ask almost rhetorically because I know the answer to that. It's not about me. It's about the truth. And they don't like that. So it doesn't matter. It could be their mother. Nope, no truth allowed. That's out. Conversely, if I did a video where I was naked and I have dancers behind me and I'm a pixie, then I'm celebrated. So they don't like the truth. I've preached that till I'm blue, and I'm going to continue to preach it because it is the truth. That is the problem with society as a whole, not just in this nation, but it begins here because this is the headquarters of evil. This is the, you know, the regional office, the palace from which all strife of humanity, nations and individuals, this is the source from which it flows. This is it. And its holders are white people. Everything goes back to a white hand. It all goes back to a white hand. It goes back to a white hand. So, anyways, like I say, hopefully you'll help me out on that. You know, then I have people that tell me they don't get notifications, and they, you know, it's just, I mean, some people they're subscribed and then they were unsubscribed, and then it just, I mean, you know, so it's all of this. The first thing I want to make sure that I tell you about is this as it relates to the census nonsense. And I'm not going to start obsessing on lighting. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Don't do it, Jedi. Don't do it. The next story is redistricting, because gerrymandering and redistricting, they're the same thing. Essentially, they're the same sandwich. There's a little nuance between that. Gerrymandering, redistricting. Redistricting is one thing. Gerrymandering is taking the organic nature out of redistricting. Like, if you're going to redistrict, that's one thing, but we want to make sure it goes a certain way. That would be your gerrymandering. And in fact, I should probably, as I'm telling it to you, oh, that's what I want to say. This is where it's a problem, because they're a problem existing, and they're a problem when they find out they could not be existing. So just no matter what, they're a problem. And this is where we will catch hell as a people. You recall that even after the fiction that the Orange Puff was trying to push after he lost the election, you lost. They wanted to keep with this fiction that the election was rigged and somehow Trump won, and none of it was true. But we saw the white backlash across the country, all 50 states. You saw them changing voting laws and regulations, and you know, just anything to stand in the way of what they see as their impending doom, but nobody else sees it that way. We do, because we can't stand their ass, but they made it so. we're not really concerned about how many people of each group there is. That don't really affect how I'm gonna sleep at night. It's not supposed to. And but we saw how swift that was. No pushback. We didn't hear anybody holding up the vote, and no, they were able to sail that through. They all agree because whiteness is they're bipartisan on whiteness. They clear about that, and stopping the niggers at all cost. So all across the country, you had all these new voting laws happening and changing, and new restrictions and all this thing. Redistricting is now going to be another heel of that. Now that they understand their numbers are shrinking in major counties and population centers across the country, quick, let's start the redistricting. So you could live on the street you live on right now, and your next door neighbor that you cook out with or something like that, you could be in one district and they in another district. You feel me? And the way gerrymandering works is, let's say these are this is a part of the city and this is a part of the city. This is a housing tract and this is a housing tract. So they'll draw, instead of this being in one piece in a district, no, let's draw around this corner over here and then this part down here and ooh, wait, this part and and all this now. You feel me? And then this is another district, and then this over here is another district, and this over here. What? Because politicians are trying to pick their voters. This is how you end up with the James Clyburns and just any of these people that have been up there that you've seen since you've been alive, that have been in Congress and all this kind of thing. This is one of the many ways that they've done that. They don't need to be running for office every, however, whatever their, if it's the Senate, it's 2 years, or no, it's 6 years in the Senate and 2 years in the Congress. And no need to run. No need to, because they've drawn out their districts of people that agree with them, and there's no need. The only time they get upset is when somebody like Alejandria Ocasio-Cortez comes out of the blue someplace, or Cory Bush comes out of or Ossoff and Warnock, or if they are somewhere, then it gets like, ooh, somebody's challenging me in my own district. Now they have to do their shit, Other than that, that's how they sit up there like fat cats. They're unopposed. They good. So now that's just the politicians and their constituency. Many of them are okay with that because they just get in their way. Now you bring up this census, and it's like, y'all gotta have few people now. And because you're a devil, you vote with that devil party, because that's the only reason why there's such thing as a Republican Party. That just stands for white people. That's all it means. Hateful ass white people. That's the only reason on earth to be a damn Republican. Don't give me I'm pro-life. Don't give me I want smaller government. It's about the economy. No, you're a hateful ass bitch. That's what you are. And you're just putting the label on yourself so that we identify you. So they agree. But now with redistricting, with the numbers changing, and now there's going to have to be new redistricting, now suddenly you're going to have people, you're a white devil and a Republican, and now you're going to have these damn niggers in your damn district that weren't voting with you before. And they're liberals. Damn it. We've had our district all white for the last 50 years. And now we're not. So there's going to be this major scramble now and a major fight over redistricting. Do you understand? I'll just read a little piece of this from the Associated Press. That'll be the expedited way, because since it's associated, that means they all agree and they all telling the same lie. This is out of Florida. Census shows white decline. Actually, this is a wrong article. This is from 2020. But it's for 2020. But I need a story written in 2021 for 2020, because the census is the 2020 census. Or, yeah. Because the census is taken every 10 years, and so, yeah. Let's see, is this one? This is the one now. All right. This is of this month, this year. U.S. Supreme Court. Or no, I'm reading stuff that's not in front of me. The U.S. became more diverse, and more urban. That's their opening. We haven't got to the period yet. That's their opening. The U.S. became more diverse and more urban over the past decade, comma. So we're not even to the end of the sentence. So the translation is our white ass country just got browner, and then that's why they said the and urban, because they have to specify to you that it is the niggers. It's them. So it became more diverse and more urban over the past decade. And the non Hispanic white population, the non Hispanic white, that means just white people. But we have to glare at that term. Why does it exist? Why does the term non Hispanic white exist? Because that means there must be Hispanic whites. You see, by default, that's an admission and a letting out, if you will, of information. And the non-white or the non-Hispanic white population dropped for the first time on record, the Census Bureau reported Thursday as it released a trove of demographic data that will be used to redraw the nation's political maps. That's going to be your redistricting. But I can't not obsess on this non-Hispanic white, because it verifies also what I've said to you, and that is you have a lot of Hispanic people declaring themselves white by choice and by design. You understand? And so in the context of this, when they say that, they just mean white people. But why, you ask yourself, why didn't they just say white people? Because that's what the whole article is about. Census shows U.S. is diversifying, comma, white population shrinking. That's the title of the article. So why do you make the distinction when you're now first going to introduce the subject of your topic? Follow me. For the first time since we began reading your first paragraph, you've introduced the subject of your topic. Why didn't you just say white? Because in your topic, you said white population shrinking. Why, when you first identified in the first paragraph, do you introduce it as non-Hispanic white? Do you understand what I'm telling you? If you don't, say it, because I'll find 50 other ways to say it. That's significant. I need you to understand. It's a very circuitous way. Look, that before we got to a period. I'll start again. The U.S. became more diverse and more urban over the past decade, and the non-Hispanic white population dropped for the first time on record, the Census Bureau reported Thursday as it released a trove of demographic data that will be used to redraw the nation's political maps, period. That's the opening paragraph. Remember, a writer, an editor, and a publisher at the very least. So they meant that. It's not a typo. It's not like we're just saying words and that just ended up on the page and it was just, no. This is chosen language. Now, so we hold that as we go on because it is significant, and now we will see if there's going to be a pattern of that. Next paragraph. The new figures offered the most detailed portrait yet of how the country has changed since 2010. Notice they're not using the word growth. It has changed since 2010. And they are sure to set off an intense partisan battle over representation at a time of deep national division and fights over voting rights. We have to stop, because we hear about the census and the redistricting, but there's a bunch of other shit that we just scooped up in our net right there, because they say it's the most detailed portrait yet of how the country has changed from what? And in 2000, since 2010. And they are sure to set off, they're making a proclamation there. And they are sure to set off, because this is a white writer. I don't have to look to see who wrote it. I know it's somebody white. And they are sure to set off, because they know, because all the attention and all the everything is supposed to be about white people. They're the only ones that matter, and that's the only reason why anybody would care. So it's sure to set off an intense partisan battle. It's not going to be partisan. It will be racial. But partisan battle over representation, which is what they were trying to get rid of after Trump lost. Quick, get rid of that representation so that we can win no matter what. So that's in place. So to set off a battle over representation at a time of deep national division and fights over voting rights, when you just changed every voting right across the earth. And then you find out, oh my God, that was already specious. And now we're being told out loud we're not the majority. And now we have to go back and redo the evil shit we just did, because that evil may not be complete enough to stop the niggers. That's what that says. The numbers could help determine control of the House in 2022 elections and provide an electoral edge for years to come. Well, I've already been proclaiming to you forever that, and Trump even said it during his tenancy or his reign of horror. He said it out loud on Fox News. He was on the phone when he talked about the stimulus package, because he said that first stimulus package, because he said there was, there wasn't just, it wasn't just the stimulus package. There was other stuff that was in there. He said, and if you had seen the stuff they had in there about voting, if I'd have signed that, there's no way a Republican would ever be elected again in this country. I knew that already. The only way they win is through some crookery. That's how Bush cannot get the popular vote and win. That's how Trump cannot get the popular vote and win. This is why they don't want the filibuster to go away. They don't want the Electoral College to go away, because that will equal fairness. One man, one vote. We can't allow that. Nope, we can't allow that. We can't. If you get 10 votes and I get 10 votes, there has to be something that says that my 10 votes is better than your 10 votes. Or even worse, and what is current reality, you get 10 votes and I get 5 votes, but my 5 votes wins over 10. 5 is greater than 10, everybody. We all learned it in school. 5 is bigger than 10. Everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. 5 is bigger than 10. It is. It's bigger than 10. It is. So it is. So that's fine. And so it could determine the elections and provide electoral edge for years to come. And nobody in their right mind is voting Republican. That's a bunch of yahoos and depraved cast outs of humanity. That's all a Republican is. Do you understand? So the idea that, and mind you again, that the Republican Party only exists to stop the niggers. So they would be all for universal health care, but for your black ass. We can't allow it. This is why we can't allow Bernie Sanders to get elected. We can't allow it. And whiteness can converging because Democrats and Republicans agreed on that. Fox and MSNBC and CNN and everybody else was all united on stop Bernie, stop Bernie, stop Bernie. They united on whites. No party to be had there. No party. So they're okay with even a Bernie Sanders as long as you don't get shit. They're okay with that. So there would have already been universal health care. There would already have been a universal basic income. There already would have been a raise in the minimum wage. And you could just keep going. Electric cars and, a green, energy and shit. But you're going to be part of it, and they don't like that. Watch Jordan Klepper from The Daily Show with Trevor Noah. He does these field assignments where he goes out to Trump rallies and different political events, and listen to how crazy these people talk, dude. They're just as fucked up as I've ever suspected and know for a fact to be. But to see it and hear it in real time is for me confirming, at the same time that it's infuriating. And you should expose yourself. Jordan Klepper, tall white dude. I don't want to get too much into this. I really wanted to see what they're going to say about redistricting, because I wanted to do a little, just give you some more a firm hook on that so that you could understand. Like, oh, um, the data will also shape how 1.5 trillion in annual federal spending is distributed. That's what I want to get into, because as it relates to redistricting, or just districting in general, one of their whole premise for doing a census, they say, is because they have to count everybody, because they want to make sure that everybody's getting the same amount of, the proper amount of government funding for this or that, and that, so they already know where your black ass is at. But this is a way for you to confirm to them, yep, this is where my black ass at, so they know don't send shit to their ass. That's what it's about. This is how you can have nice roads in one part of the city, and then your shit looks like some shit from the 1800s in your part of the city. You're not getting those districting dollars. So they want you to answer the census, they say, because of that. But you really don't need to, because they know your location, they know your race, they know where you at. They know. They've had no problem depriving our people since day one, before there was a census. Why do you need it now? And I suggest the answer, one answer to that question, just one, because I suggest there are many, but one of the answers to that is to perpetuate a fictional hierarchy in those who are not white, i.e. you're white Hispanic. So we're back to that now. That you will mark down on the census that you're a white Hispanic, so you feel some type of way. You see, that's one suggestion. And also a guide on where they need to pad their numbers for said federal funding, as well as for voting and elections and changing of voting rules, etc. Because we see on TV every day they're trying to change it to where you got to have somebody that's mixed now, this interracial bullshit. Like every damn thing is that. That's what they want to move to. Some new speed, some new race that's nondescript. And they're doing that same thing with gender, which is one of the other issues we have with the whole Afghani thing. I'll tie that up for you. I'll just see if they're going to go more into this. Americans continue to migrate to the South and West at the expense of the Midwest and Northwest. The figures showed the share of the white population fell from 63.7% in 2010 to 57.8% in 2020. And that might be a lie. Indeed, it is a lie, because whatever number they begin with is a lie. One of my empirical pieces I brought to you over the years to back up anytime I've made this statement about this and their numbers is I've shown you Dr. Mustafa Hefny. Images of Dr. Mustafa Hefny. He is a black Egyptian who for decades has been trying to get them to allow him to note his race as black. He's listed as white. He's been harassed. He's lost jobs at university. People tell him just let it go. I mean, this has gone on for decades through different administrations and shit. Images of Dr. Mustafa Hefny. There he is. I'll show you a couple pictures, because our melanin changes depending on the lighting. There's one image of him. Clearly not a white man, just clearly. And we'll do three, because here's another one. Clearly not a white dude, just clearly. And this would probably be a more recent representation of the brother. But still not a white man. Still not. Just still not. Yeah, still not. You see? So the census is diabolical. It is. And so wherever they start is a lie, because there are other groups that when they come here, they have them just declare themselves white. The lowest on record is their 57.8%, driven by falling birth rates among white bitches compared with Hispanic and Asian women. Still haven't mentioned Joe Blackash yet directly. And by the way, there's a whole video. I did pieces on this here on the channel about they're having lower birth rates than deaths. It's here on the channel. But they're saying that the falling birth rates of white bitches compared to Hispanics and Asian women. The number of non-Hispanic white, just fucking people, shrank from 196 million in 2010 to 191 million. So they've lost 4 million votes if we go by this, or 5 million. White people continue to be the most prevalent racial or ethnic group, comma, though that changed in California, comma, where Hispanics became the largest racial or ethnic group, growing from 37.6% to 39.4% over the decade, while the share of white people dropped from 40.1% to 34.7%. California, the nation's most populous state, joined Hawaii, New Mexico, and the District of Columbia as a place where non-Hispanic white, again, they're still not just saying white people, where white people are no longer the dominant group. Those are minority states. The U.S. population is much more multiracial and much more racially and ethnically diverse than what we have measured in the past, end quote, said Nicholas Jones, a Census Bureau official. I'm over it. Because, listen, and they still don't have the numbers, because black folks usually don't answer the census. I don't. Thumbs up, everybody. Everyone who's watching me now, hit the like button. You didn't remember, and now I told you. So thumbs up. Hit the thumbs up. Hit the like button. Thank you. Thank you. Come on. Um, some demographers caution that the white population was not shrinking as much as shifting to multiracial identities. That's a very key statement, everybody. That's a very key, key sentence. I'll just read it again. Some demographers cautioned, and in what context is this caution, by the way? Some demographers cautioned that the white population was not shrinking as much as shifting to multiracial identities. That would be your white bitch that claims she's Native American when you just see a white bitch in front of you. I'm Native American. No, you're not, bitch. I'm Jewish. You're a white bitch. I'm Irish. You're a white bitch. I'm Italian. You're a white bitch. You see, that's what's insinuated in there. Some demographers caution that the white population was not shrinking as much as shifting to multiracial identities. That's how people describe themselves. The bitch that had our young brother hemmed up in the hotel lobby trying to say he stole her iPhone. And then when Gayle King interviewed her bitch ass, she was like, I'm a woman of color. I'm a woman of color. Suddenly, no, that bitch is claiming she's white, a white Latina, a white Hispanic. You see? So this shifting and moving identities, the number of people who identified as belonging to two or more races more than tripled from 9 million in 2010 to 33.8 million in 2020. They now account for 10% of the US population. That's these people who want to get a bit of the sauce. You feel me? They're bland ass fucking white people who want to be exotic. It's a sickness that's being reflected in this data. A mental sickness. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Yeah, thank you, Sean. They're mixing with others. And not just that only. Or as Dr. King used to say, not only that. Not only that. Not only that, but it's not just their what you just said, Sean, but it's just also this, just what it said, just the shifting, just declaring. It's like Dwayne Wade's son, just declaring. No biological or historical evidence for shit. No, I'm just declaring. Like, you know what? I just decided right now. I'm Oprah. There, I just declared it. So when we're done here, I'm going to the bank and just tell them I'm Oprah and make a withdrawal, you guys. So tell me how much you need or want, and I got you covered. It's nothing. Because you can just declare now. I never thought about it. So I'm declaring that I'm Oprah. There, I did it. I did it. I did it. So look at the jump that is, though, from 9 million to 33, we'll just round it, 39 million or 34 million, from 9 million to 34 million in a decade. That's the psychological mind fuck. That's evidence of the psychological mind fuck that's going on. So when you take that same set of data and scenarios, follow me now, and apply this over to this transgender bullshit, you no longer have the solid male female numbers. Just like when you start trying to tell people like Dr. Mustafa Hefni that they're white, or you're telling these Latinos who are not ambiguous, they fully speak the language of Spanish and, are, first or second generation or some shit like that, and suddenly they can just be white now. So these numbers are not real, while they're also disturbing. people identify as, and as it said up there, it says the number of people who identified as belonging to two or more groups. Like you are a smorgasbord of shit. This is what always kills me about these mixed people. I've ranted about this in the past. I'm over you. Like I don't, you don't. What do you? You're worse. It's the same issue I have with the damn gay people and the transgender bullshit. It's like what? Why are you? What do you want from me? What do you want? So when you meet somebody that's interracial, that looks one thing or the other to you, they solely want you to know they're the League of Nations. Why are you telling me that? What are you running from or to? What? Why do I need to know that? What? What? Because whatever I see, that's what you are. The other stuff don't matter unless you're in personal quarters with people who that shit would matter to, your parents or your family or something. That's not my business. But all this, I'm the League of Nations out in public, I'm not gonna, nobody's gonna care or remember it. If you look like a light-skinned chick, you just a light-skinned chick. That's just it. Every once and again, we all run across these people you really don't know what they are because of their characteristic and how they present themselves, and it's a bunch of things, and you just really are stuck on, you don't really know what they are. But those are far in between, and those are small numbers. You know, we've all had that experience. That's why they stand out, because they're not the norm. You know, don't come up to me and you're Tracy Ellis Ross, who I love, and you want to now tell me that you're a list of shit. That's never going to fly with me. But it's reflected here, these people that are claiming two or more races. So you're just going to be it all. That's what it's trying to move to. I'm not male, I'm not female, I'm not black, I'm not white, I'm everything. The people who identify as a race other than white, now they mention you're as black, comma, Asian, American Indian, Native Hawaiian, or Pacific Islander. I'm over it. Either alone or in combination with one of those races jumped from 49, just from 50%, or jumped from 50 million, or jumped to 50 million people, surpassing the black population. Interesting that this is the first time they mention you directly, and it's only to mention that you've been surpassed, which is the only reason why they're even allowing this other bullshit, because they don't ever want you to be the majority. You understand what I'm telling you? Quick, anybody but the niggers, just anybody. And there's the evidence here. People who identify as race, as a race other than white, black, Asian, American Indian. That's an oxymoron, because they were kind of here first, so you don't need to be an American Indian, you're just kind of Indian. Whatever, American Indian, Native Hawaiian, or Pacific Islander, either alone or in conjunction with one of those races, jumped to 50 million people, comma, surpassing the niggers population of 46.9%, or 47 million people as the nation's second largest racial group, according to the Census Bureau. Well, that's a fictional fucking group. Because like I just said, for 10 minutes, you don't get to be a League of Nations. Pick one. That's it. That's it. So I think because they're going to the diversity index, and I don't think I need all this right now as it relates to time. So that I just want to button, if they're going to go into any more of the redistricting shit, because that's really germane to what I really want to and why is this wow. But demographers said they may have to do with Hispanic uncertainty about how to answer the race question on the census form. What I've been telling you for the last several years. They changed the census, or the Hispanics now have to say they're black or white Hispanic. What the fuck you think they're gonna pick? So that now we bring that information to this paragraph. But demographers said they may have to do with Hispanic uncertainty about how to answer the race questions on the census form, bitch, as well as changes the Census Bureau made in processing responses and how it asked about race and ethnicity. Asians were the next most populous racial group, reaching 24 million people in 2020, a jump of more than a third. The Hispanic population boomed over the decade, growing by almost a quarter to 62.1 million residents in 2020 and accounting for almost half of the overall U.S. population growth. Of the growth. They're half of the growth, not of the number, which was the slowest since the Great Depression. By comparison, the non-Hispanic, just straight up as white people, was 4.3% over the decade. The data demonstrates that the Latino community is a huge and increasing part of our nation's future, end quote, said Thomas Saines, president of the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund. Do we have a legal and educational fund for African people in this bitch? Anybody know the answer to that? Almost all of the growth of the past 10 years happened in metropolitan areas. And where do white folks move to? The suburbs. All the growth is where your black ass is at, because they run. All the growth of the past 10 years happened in the metropolitan areas. About 80% of the metropolitan areas saw population gains as more people in smaller counties moved to larger, more urban counties. Now, this also affects when you are on election night, you see Steve Kornacki at that fucking board. And if you look here in the state of Iowa, but you still got these populations in these urban centers that are going to come in, and you're going to have, you see, the more they grow, them rural areas don't fucking matter at all, because they don't really matter that much now even. But that's one of the things you'll be looking for now in the future of how this has affected that. What will those boards look like on election nights now? When you see the whole fucking thing is red, but if Obama get this one little block over here in the corner that's blue, he win the whole state. Really? Because all the shit is red. But that's gerrymandering and redistricting that you're looking at, and rural counties and shit. But that one little corner that Obama's going to win is where the college and the universities are at, and the shit. You see, it's very diabolical. The share of children in the U.S. declined because of falling birth rates, while the share of adults grew, driven by aging baby boomers. Adults over age 18 made up more than 3/4 of the population in 2020, or 258.3 million people, an increase of more than 10% from 2010. However, the population of children under the age of 18 dropped from 74.2 million in 2010 to 73.1 in 2020. In addition, there is now no majority racial or ethnic group for people younger than 18. How can that be? Did you understand? It said there is no majority racial or ethnic group for people younger than 18. Seem like if my mom and them is the majority, I'm probably the majority too. But it's consistent, because if white folks ain't having no damn, they're having more deaths than births, then they're aging, but they don't have nothing to show for their under 18. That means somebody else must have stepped in, and they're just not reflecting that, or don't want to say it, or don't know it. Somebody has to be the majority racial and ethnic group of people younger than 18. This is more lies, as the share of non-Hispanic whites in the age group dropped from 53.5 to 47.3 over the decade. So y'all dropped. So who's in the place now? Quote, if not for Hispanics, comma, Asians, comma, people of two or more races, still can't get back to your black ass, those are the groups underage that are growing because they're killing off Mike Brown and Trayvon Martin, and they're killing off Von Derek Myers, and they're killing off, um, another reason why you need to stop with this black and brown shit and just represent your people only and be over it. Um, those are the only groups underage that are growing, said William Frey, a senior fellow at Brookings Metropolitan Policy Program. A lot of these young minorities are important for our future growth, not only for a child population, but for our future labor force. Well, we're not getting to labor yet, just for your future adult population. You see how random that was? The data comes, we're moving. The release state officials. Okay, this is what we want. The release offers states the first chance to redraw their political districts in a process that is expected to be particularly brutish, since control over Congress and state houses is at stake. So it's about power, bitch. And not only that, what will the face of that power look like? Because this also has other implications. You can have your Ben Carsons and the fucker that died, the 999 dude, and you can have Tim Scott and all these other sellout ass Negro ass people. But at some point, with numbers like this, one of me gonna get through. They just barely stopped Nina Turner in Ohio at the beginning of this month. Just barely stopped Nina. That's a fire-breathing sister right there. Don't give a damn. Ain't got shit to prove. You see? So how we're not turning and we're ramping up these commercials and ads and all the sitcoms and all the movies is biracial and interracial, and you got to have a white bitch with somebody black and all this and shit. This is what this is all about. But we can't turn all of them into that fast enough. So quick, the rush is on. What was the language? A brutish, it will be expect to be particularly brutish, since control over Congress and state houses is at stake. And eventually one of those niggers that really doesn't like our asses is going to get through. And they won't be a Christian. They'll actually have the balls to do shit for their people. Quick, stop it. It also provides the first opportunity to see, on a limited basis, how well the Census Bureau fulfilled its goal of counting every U.S. resident during what many consider the most difficult once-a-decade census in recent memory. How well did they do? Well, I already told you, black folks aren't really inclined to answer the census. I didn't. We ain't really into it. And we really got time for it. So their numbers are off. So that can be a source of even more anxiety for their ass. If they're this bad with the numbers we think we know, how bad is it really? And we just popping up on you. You see, this is also why they can't find justice for you when they've killed Trayvon Martin, or they've killed Mike Brown, or they've killed Alton Sterling, or they've killed Eric Garner. They can't find justice for you because those men represent the potential of a people for their population. That's those billions of sperm that we shoot out. Do you understand? That's your potential to regenerate. So every time you take down one, you don't know if that brother was shooting quadruplets. Maybe he was just shooting twins. Maybe he was just shooting boys. Maybe he was just shooting girls. We don't know. But his potential is now gone. And somewhere, just like they keep this fucking census, there's somewhere where they're keeping those numbers, the potential of you. If they're counting you, they're also counting your potential and projecting what that would look like in 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. What's that going to look like? How many niggers do we have to kill this year that we're not going to give justice for? That's why I tell my people, when I'm talking about all out assault, I'm not talking about like we're just going to get up one day and take out this white devil. They're picking you off every day systematically, physically and medically. They'll just run you to the ground, stress you out and shit. There's an attack on you every day. And where is our counter assault to diminish their numbers more quickly, like they're doing to us? You have to have an answer for that. Your survival depends on you having an answer to that. That is physical. Communities of color, there's that word, have been undercounted in past census. The agency likely will not know how good a job it did until next year when it releases a survey showing undercounts and overcounts. Well, that's disingenuous because you've been overcounting your white ass since you started it. So you don't really mean that. You're a cheap whore. The data, and it also acknowledges what I've said. Communities of colors have been undercounted because we're not interested in your damn census. We're just not interested. The census we take is how many of these badass kids is in the car that's going to the store. Are they all in the car? Okay, here we go. That's our census. The data was the data we are releasing today meet our high quality data standards. Acting Census Bureau Ron, somebody said, even before it began, the headcount was challenged by attempted political interference from the Orange Puffs administration. Their failed efforts to add a citizenship question to the census form. Remember that? A a more a move that critics feared would have a chilling effect on immigrant or Hispanic participation. The effort was stopped by the Supreme Court. The information was originally supposed to be released by the end of March, but that deadline was pushed back because of delays caused by the coronavirus pandemic and so on. All right. So then they mentioned 620,000 people in the U.S. who died of the COVID bullshit allegedly. On top of the pandemic, census takers in the West contended with wildfires, and those in Louisiana faced repeated hurricanes and blah blah. So I don't want to hammer this too much, but I'm just trying to tell you that, um, and actually that article gave me more than what I think I even expected it to, as far as its yield on what I'm trying to uh, bring across to you to say that the census is some bullshit, but you also need to understand what its implications are as it relates to power and your future, and uh, I would even add behavior of white people going forward, because once they know this, and this is just a soft rolling it out to them. I say that I've been telling you since before you even knew me, that they're the minority, dude. There's fewer white people in this bitch than there are anybody else. Period. The end. And could you just imagine if we allowed ourselves a fantasy moment, if everybody that ain't white would acknowledge that shit and join forces on whatever our political agendas are? We could wipe them out, in power and politics be over them, run everything. I can't. But the reason why they are able to be so effective, even though there's less of them than everybody else, is because they're willing to do what? Be fucking violent, bitch. It's the exact answer. You could sit and scream your will all day, but if you're not prepared or able to physically put that will over, it doesn't matter what it is. You could be your kids, because we tell our kids, get your ass in there and tie your shoes. That's your will. Then when they don't do it, you got to be able to come and reinforce your will and push it over. Here comes the shoe, here comes the belt, here comes the switch, here comes the extension cord, here comes something that brings my will over on you, that this is what it is, and I'm prepared to back it up even after I've articulated it. We have to get to that. I want to say this, um, because this ties into very nicely into the Afghanistan story, everybody. What I need you to understand, it's very simple. Afghanistan is not a complicated, complex thing. You have a nation that its geographic situating where it is between Russia and China and India and some other shit I can't name. The Russians wanted it, and of course the white devils in America, because the Russians and the people in Russia are nothing but white devils. Just because they speak Russian, we don't care. That's pig skin. That's a white devil. Period. We keep things very simple, and they wanted control of Afghanistan because it would all, but for geographical um, dominance, but it also would have given them a leg up in the oil game. So obviously the Afghanis are going to defend their land. Like, you ain't gonna bring your Russian ass in this bitch. You not. So the white devil, seeing this, says, "We'll help you fight them. We'll help you." So they gave them all this money and all this weaponry. They gave that to the Taliban in Afghanistan. They did that. And I wonder who was one of the leaders. Oh my God, it was Osama bin Laden. So he didn't just come out of the thin air as some ghost on 9/11. They're very well acquainted with Sheikh Osama bin Laden, rahimahullah. Acquainted. So they come in and they will help you. But the Taliban fought the Russians for years. But here's what is the central thing. The people in Afghanistan love the Taliban. They do. But you also have to understand the people of Afghanistan have been under war for decades. All they know is bombs going off and shit blowing up and tanks coming down the street and shit. It was the Soviets at first, the Russians. Then when the Taliban said we over this bullshit, they kind of like the Black Panther, if you will. You know, they that group of brothers is ready to roll on a fool. You could think of them in that context to just make it more elementary and easier to digest for you. They were the ones who said, we're going to stand up for our nation. They're the great fighters. In Arabic, we call this mujahid. And mujahid, so if you are then, this is their group, so mujahideen, mujahideen. This is your group of fighters. And so they were able to run the Soviets out, but you have to have other history because you're dealing with secular and religious, secular and religious, secular and religious. What the Taliban have always sought to do is to keep the Sharia of the Quran. Like, the Quran governs the lives of Muslims. It determines everything I do in my life. It is my life. So, like with any society, I'm not going to say that. I'll say it this way. Most societies are somehow exposed to white bullshit, otherwise known as the West. And that comes to your own personal constitution. We didn't have a lot when I was growing, but then there was different parts when I grew up when we had, and then we didn't have, and we had. But anyways, you can see your friends them come up on new bikes or something, And now my constitution, who Allah has made me, has always been, I've never been the type of person that feels bad that I don't have that. And I'm jealous that you have it. You just have it, and I don't mind, and I'm good. That's, wallah, that's who I am. I don't understand these other emotions that come up in people, but this is at play here too, because you had portions of Afghanistan that were what we would consider more secular, where the women who had been exposed to Western bullshit and people going there because the white devil was somehow everywhere, suddenly you're not liking your burqa and your hijab. You suddenly want the fucking skirt that comes up to your eyeballs, you see. So there was times in its history where you had portions of it that were that way, and there were other regions of it that were like, don't bring that shit here. We're not having it. But after war with the Soviets, uh, and then I feel like somebody else came in. But when it was settled, the Taliban was there before the U.S. came in 2001 after they lied about 9/11, and they appreciate the Taliban for their fighters and their determination. But when it's all over, then the country has peace, but they don't feel like they have freedom because they're like, okay, you safe now, but bitch, you can't walk down the street in that pencil skirt now. You know that, right? You know that. So take your shit. Now, of course, the West is going to blow up and make things over illuminated than they need to be. So when they tell you girls can't learn and this and the third, the Quran, this is why was one of our bragging rights as Muslims, that Muslim women have never had to burn their bras and declare their equality. Allah has made it very clear from the beginning that the woman is equal to the man. Like that's just what it is. Although she has um, specific rights that she enjoys that you wouldn't enjoy as a man and things like that, and she has a special place with the divine and all those things, but still there's no the woman is inferior and so therefore you have to hold her the fuck back and she can't progress at all. That just doesn't go on. And you're not going to tell me you have these mujahids who are supposed to be radical Islamists, because if I'm radical about something, that means I dot every fucking I and I cross every T and I mean the shit I say and do, period. I'm pursuing the excellence of that. So these brothers are not going to then usurp or supersede the Quran and the law of God. They just not having it. So that's where you're at now. But it's also not good for business, because a corrupt non-Islamic government is happy to let you come in and take their poppy and their lithium and all of that, and to have you to create chaos in your society, whispering to your women, you should be able to walk down the street with nothing on, and the women should be able to mix with the men in society and all these, and they'll whisper that shit. You're gonna get some pull-offs. Everybody ain't gonna tell you to go to hell. You're gonna get some pull-offs. But to simplify it for you, that's what is their terror quotient right now as it relates to the French, the fucking the Russians, America, anybody you're gonna name. If they have an Islamic government in place in Afghanistan, then the tone of the whole country changes. And because Islam dictates everything we do in life, of course it dictates how we do business. It just do. There was a chick that was trying to make, I saw a piece. She was, fuck her, again, a bitch with a British accent, because you have to have that when you're reporting propaganda about something going on in another part of the world. When you report it to an American audience, you must be British. So there was a brother who had stolen another man's goat, and he was in a Sharia court. A Sharia court Sharia is the word of God, everybody. That's what it is. The word of God. So that means that your practices, your laws, any rulings on anything or any decision on anything, you don't have an opinion. You say, what has God told us? Because as Muslims, we hear and obey. So what has God said? What did he say? And that's it. That's what it is. You don't get to, well, it say this, but so and so. That That's your Christian down the hall. That's everybody but the Muslim down the hall. Up here, we see and we hear and we. That's just kind of what we do. So she was trying. The British bitch was trying to, and I think this is the same bitch that was standing in the street and they were screaming "Death to America" behind her bitch ass. But she's trying to make it seem as though they're about to bring down some harsh, uh, inhumane treatment on this man. He's a thief, and there are penalties for that in most societies. And oh, by the way, any penalty you're going to get in an Islamic country is far less than it would be in this asshole, the devil. You steal a Snickers today, and they trying to put you away for life. And don't let it be a third strike or some bullshit. I mean, you see what I'm saying? It gets into an area, but um, there's some things that there is flogging for, or there is, but all through anything, Allah is always giving you the option of compassion too. You understand what I'm telling you? So you, like I've told you about when it comes to revenge and taking our revenge out on these fucking people, that is our right, and there is no penalty for that in the eyes of God because He has said it to us. He has also said, if you choose not to exercise your right on that, I'll give you a blessing for that. But there's no party, no foul, no penalty if you go ahead and tear the bitch's head off because they've been fucking with you for decades. You good. Go ahead. You good. So she was trying to blow up this moment and make it seem like it was something that it wasn't. And if you just looked at the demeanor of the brothers around, it wasn't what she was telling. Now we're back to the airport again, with they're telling you people are trying to cling to airplanes that are taking off, and that's not what was happening. And oh, by the way, the headline today is that the Taliban was able to take back Afghanistan, particularly Kabul, without a single shot being fired. So nobody was under sniper fire, and there was all out firing and shooting going on. I meant to mention that yesterday when we spoke, because that was one of the details that I also noticed. There's no chaos, but they're making chaos out of these images you're showing. I'm not seeing chaos, but everything they're saying is something chaotic. But that's not what I'm looking at. You telling me it's a birthday cake, and I don't see a birthday cake in front of me. Stop saying it's a fucking birthday cake. It's not. It ain't. You see? So that's to button that up for you. But it matters because think about this now. In an Afghani Islamic society, they're not going to be dealing with Dwayne Wade's little bitch ass son and all this transgender bullshit. And I think I'm a pixie today, and tomorrow I'm a cis, and this day I'm this pronoun, and bitch, man or woman, bitch, pick one. They don't have to deal with that in Islamic societies that are governed by the one who creates and who is the author of all law that is valid. They don't have to deal with that. You don't have the rates of rape and incest and all these sexual deviant bullshit that comes from white people because they're not Muslims. There are some white Muslims out there, but not enough to talk about or spit at. So this is reflection. And so all this deviance that we have in the society, just as it relates to even sexual bullshit, is not something they're ever going to juxtapose that for you when they're telling you about the women are not permitted to be with the men, and you're supposed to be like, that's just not even right. That's not even. No, bitch, that's exactly it. Because you are in a society that you should be able to see very clearly what happens when you don't abide by and submit to what the divine has prescribed for you. Allah has prescribed things for us because He knows His creation. He knows us. That's why He says, Jedi, when you see a woman, you get one glass and you put you distract your damn gaze to something else. You understand? So that I'm not walking around with an erection all day, at the very least. I won't be seen as lewd in the society. I won't offend the woman because I'm undressing her with my eyes. All by just submitting to what God has ordained for me. That's all I got to do. He got it. He kind of knows what He's doing. I hear things. I hear things. I'm told. So they want to now villainize this atmospherics for you, and you're going to see people on TV. This Afghani woman was, was under the regime of, the Taliban, and it was no one she can sit her bitch ass down, because any Afghani will tell you we good with the Taliban. They keep us safe. We feel at peace. They protect us. Then you have those who will say, but we don't have no freedom because we can't just go out in our with nothing on, you know. And there's rules, and they don't have television. When the Taliban have been in power before, there's no television, because that's images coming in. That is haram. They see it. And it is. So they don't allow it. Um, there's no television. There's no alcohol in the society. There's no nightclubs and all the shit that leads to fucking unrighteousness. You're not having it. So if you have a nation like that, you think America gives a fuck about them? They don't. But damn it, it's going to be harder to do business with them. They won't do what we tell them. Quick, say the Taliban are bad. Say it. Go say they are Islamic terrorists. Say the people hate them. Say they're oppressing the people. But definitely tell them women and girls are being oppressed while we're snatching babies out of the hands of women in this bitch today. You understand what I'm telling you? Like they have no credibility. They have none at all. Not even a teaspoon. They don't have it. They don't have it. They don't have it. So that's what you need to understand about Afghanistan. That's the big picture for you, that the Taliban represent an Islamic state that is following and governing by the word of God. So you don't get into these little side stories that they feed you about oppression of women and children. Throw that shit out. Know that the best thing for any nation, quite frankly, but in this case it's Afghanistan, is an Islamic government. This is one of the issues they have with Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran. You understand? If you're one of these Arab nations out there that are willing to just throw Islam to the side, and we're good with you. Did you see how in love they are with the Saudi fucking regime and shit? Because there are parts of Saudi that are secular and it's kind of okay, and they're not really that holy any damn way. You understand? And the dynasty, like this, the whole concept of dynasties is against Islam. We don't dynasties. We just don't. We're not into that. We're not doing that. But they will sell you this, But you have a lot of those nations that go along with them. They're easier to deal with. But these people, not only have they done it before, and now they're doing it again, have established an Islamic State, but these are the mujahid, and they are willing to fucking to the death. Even some of the du'as that they say, even from the time you're a child, it's gearing those children to understand they will fight that they will fear God, that they will hold their faith and their allegiance to Allah in the highest esteem, and that is premier. And that you will protect your people like your life ain't about it. So that's another reason why nobody will fight their ass, because the mujahideen will fight your ass until the fucking end, bitch. There is no fear. The Soviets did everything they could, and they ran them the fuck out. Even before, like, they didn't really, like, America gave them money and weaponry, but they was already kicking their ass before that. That I was just like, that'll help us too, but we got this. That's what it is to fight on principle. That's what it is to fight in the proper context of your existence in this arc of time in space. You're trying to hold on. You're held back by fear and what the white man is going to do, think, or feel, instead of stepping out on trusting just Allah, and that's it, and righteousness, and handling our fucking business and getting the job done. We could have been over this shit many, many generations ago. Many generations ago. But you are ruled by fear as a people, as a collective. right here, Cheryl. Love you too, Jedi. I love you more. 40 Shorty. They had me. I read that. Cheryl. Speaking the truth will get you hated on. Just as our elder scholars like the Honorable Malcolm X and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Facts. Um, Kiara Irvin. Shout out to you, Queen. Um, Black Beauty always. Greetings to you, Queen, and you shouting out the global African family. Cheryl Jedi, their numbers are shrinking, but they are not going out without a fight. That's the truth. They are pushing the uh, gay agenda on our children. Race soldiers are deputized by whites to kill unarmed African people. I want to say this to you guys because I saw this was luminous for me. Um, I usually don't fill my head up with nonsense. I don't have time for that on Earth. But sometimes things just come across your radar, and there's this. I guess I saw it in Africa. There's this smash or pass. The first one I saw was in Africa. The kids were African, and then suddenly it was in America, and two ones that I saw, it was a lesbian chick standing over with the dudes. Like all the dudes stand on this side, all the females stand on this side. And then one dude goes down the line of whether to the women, I'll smash or I'll pass, smash or pass. Well, they had a female. But my point that I'm trying to get to is that in each scenario where I saw there was one of these pixie people, um, everybody just kind of like well, it was just females because I didn't see any gay men. I only saw so-called gay women. You know, a couple of the sisters claimed they were gay, and then that were over there with the women. But there was in one of them there was this one dude-looking ass sister that was over with the brothers. And when the sisters would come down the brothers' line of where they would smash or pass them, it was a few of when they got to her, there was a couple of them was like, I don't do girls, so pass, But then there was a couple of them that was like, smash, you know. It was more for me an observation into how are our young ones receiving this on their level. I remember asking my nephew, the prince, um, years ago when he was young. Something was going on then, and we were talking. I feel like he was here. I know I've talked to him on the phone about it, and when we've been in person together, whether I'm in New York or if he's here with me. But I asked him somewhere in time, did he did he know any gay people? Did he have gay friends? I just wanted to take a barometer really on what was his exposure to it, and then by extension of that, was he having any type of feelings one way or the other about it, um, positive or negative or whatever was going to come out of him. I just wanted to know what it was. And it would also give me a commentary on the generation in a way through his eyes, because I'm not their age, and I'm not really, I don't have I'm not in the position to have my ear on the ground the way that they would, just because of who they are. They're teenagers, for God's sake. And he was very nonchalant, really, about it. It still seemed that it was when they know somebody's gay, they identify and they see them, but that it's not. It really don't go any further than that. Just like, that's just you, and so that's how we identify you over there, type thing. But no real strong feeling on it. So this is why this was also a luminous for me, because these were, I guess they were high school kids, in all the scenarios that I saw, and um, like that was the reaction. I would like to know if there's any with gay boys in it, to see how are the brothers responding to the young brothers, how they're responding to that. Um, I did also appreciate, just as a random note, but it's kind of connected, because there was one where there was a white bitch in the lineup of the sisters. You got every who sister over there, and then a white bitch. And I'm proud to say that most of them brothers went right past that white bitch and said, I don't do white females. I don't do white girls. I don't do white girls. Pass. I don't do white girls. Pass. That made me feel good. There was one or two of them that was like, I never do no white girls, so I'll just say smash. Still don't like it. Sent me to the hospital for a month, but I'll allow it. Um, but yes, there is an agenda, and at the very least, I feel like black folks, you need to, if you don't have any type of backbone, you can, it shouldn't take nothing from you. Like, I just, how what do you need in order to stand up for your damn child and command of your child? What do you need? Seems just your child exists should be enough for you to proclaim to yourself and anybody who would want to know, I run this. It's what I say over everything at all times when it comes to my child. I'm just put off by, it just seems like I'm not really seeing this from black folks. Like, y'all got an issue with just fucking standing your ground. Um, Wait, did I miss? Um, so I think I want to say to that, there can only be an agenda if we allow there to be an agenda. Um, and 40 Shorty was testifying to you, Cheryl. You go on to say they are also trying to force the vaccine on African society, knowing that we never forgot about that Tuskegee bullshit. This is a form of eugenics and depopulation. Um, I'm just not understanding why there's African people that don't understand that. Just the fact that you're an African should mean, well, I'm black, so therefore I don't trust you. Like, that's, the two go together. I'm black, I don't trust you. you know. And again, we don't really see the Asian community being assaulted by this and having something to say. We're not really seeing. I mean, there's a concerted effort to push this specifically over on African people. We're just not going for it. D Mike, shout out to you. I came in to hit the like button. I appreciate you for that. Yeah, we're looking good on the thumbs up, everybody. Uh, and as I said, anybody that's watching me now that wasn't here before, if you're not subscribed to me, I'm trying to conduct an experiment that I can't do without you, a fact-finding mission. I need you to subscribe. Even if you're not going to stick with me, you can unsubscribe later or tomorrow. But during this stream, I need you to subscribe, because my number hasn't moved for 3 years. I'm trying to see if they are hiding my number some kind of way. And I think I'll go a step further. If you are somebody who's not subscribed to me and you do this to help me find this out, I need you to, if you would type it in just put that you subscribed. Maybe that'll help also. You know what I mean? I have to be able to prove this some kind of way. I can't do it without you. Um, Peace and blessings to you, D. Siri, shout out to you, Queen. Uh, you say, imagine that. And good afternoon. Melanin, that a whole black man, who is he kidding? I'm out of context. Uh, Sean Jedi, I saw that story. Um, Kiara, that's what this interracial crap is about. Shaking my head. Siri, crying emojis, crying, laughing emojis, I think. Yeah, crying. I think those are crying, laughing emojis. Kiara, they're trying to increase their numbers and take our genetics. It's diabolical. I'll read this out, say this. Sean, Scott, yes, their birth rate is in decline and they're mixing with others. I wanted to mention to you again, to everybody, because I sent something to you last evening when I was telling you about HARP and how they're able to make earthquakes happen and storm patterns and shit with this HARP by directing radio waves in different frequencies and things like that. They've done the science of how to make these things happen. And I needed to also mention yet again when I said that this is also predicated on a flat earth. This is more proof of a more likely flat earth. We have more evidence for a flat earth than we have for anything else. Here's the thing, the only evidence we have, and we use the word evidence very in quotations in this scenario, the only evidence we have of a spherical earth is their fake NASA pictures. That's it. So you take out the NASA pictures and they're in the same place as me and you. So then the wise man looks around and says, what is the evidence point to of being most likely the truth? And that is a flat earth. So this also fits in the HARP because it's easier for me to project a signal from one end of my bed to the other end of my bed than around the corner and down the fucking hill someplace. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Siri, you too much with the key. Was it my laugh? Kiara, they want less of us too, killing 12 birds with one stone. We're always the target. We have to begin with that. It's us first, and then everything else is collateral to that. Sean is laughing at something I said. Kiara, I read that. Sean, Jedi, thanks for the wrench making a moderator. Thanks, big bro. Oh, no problem. You know, all of my regulars, there's many of you that I'm like, how come this person's not a moderator already? Like, I just don't remember, you know, I just don't remember. Siri, this is a fragile Muzungu philosophy. I judge by hair texture, either coil or animal hair. I'm not mad at it. I have nothing to object to that. I'm not mad at that, you know. And it matters. You know, I was watching this brother, an old piece. I don't know what year it would be, decade it would be from, but he's some type of a doctor, and he was talking about, it was one of these like melanin lectures, you know, and one of the many things he was saying is how there's these melanin centers at the base of the brain that connect something, but on us there's 12 of them, and on white people it's only 4. And he was going on to say I think he wasn't really trying to do this, but it was just kind of default happening. It was lining up this 12, the 12 months of the year, the 12 astrological signs, the 12 tribes, then there's 12, and it was just this whole thing. But he was saying it in a different context, but it was so, but this was like, and that too, it was just, anyway, it just goes to what I say, that we're not the same as these people. We have Allah creates everything in degrees. Even when we look at the story of Iblis, who was not an angel, he was a jinn. When Allah made Adam the first man, and he told the angels to bow down to Adam, Iblis, who was a jinn, did not bow down. And his whole reasoning was because he said to Allah, you made him from clay, you made me from fire. I'm better. Degrees. So we're being told not only that we're all the same, but you're not even supposed to identify or celebrate that you are superior and better than these fucking people. Yes, we're better and we're just more superior. We just are. And we're happy to say that in a non-arrogant way if you weren't making it such a fucking deal. Now we have to say it. We're better than your ass, bitch. We have to say it that way. Instead of everybody just sort of acknowledging, and that's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Not with this white devil, though. It's not fine. It's only fine if it was them. Cheryl, white supremacist society fears genetic annihilation. This is why they stay on code with each other against African society. And I don't understand the obsession. I just don't. It seems we have more reason to be, we would have provocation to be that, concerned and vigilant and shit. Like, ooh, quick, if we don't have enough black people, then these white people gonna really try and fucking fuck you over. You feel what I'm saying? But nobody's doing shit to their bitch ass, sadly, yet. So why are you so obsessed with how many of you there is and how long you're going to live, and you don't want to be wiped out as a people? Because your individual ass is not living forever. You do know that. So why are you obsessing on a time when you don't even fucking exist on this issue? You see? Then the breadth of their evil becomes more evident to you. It should. Siri. That's to Cheryl. Cheryl, white supremacy. Did I read that just now? Elevates other ethnic and racial groups above Africans, specifically to get these groups to replace us. This includes indoctrinating African immigrants against us. Facts. Where am I at? Siri. Africa's population, biggest 20-somethings on Earth, will double in 30 years. And it's the youngest continent, even now. And it will grow, but it's it is the youngest continent now. I was making that connection too recently, because that is the same as it is in Islam. Of the 1.9 billion Muslims on the earth, the vast majority of that is under 30. Is 30 and under of Muslims. And then we find this mirrored in the African population, that the continent is mostly 30 and under. Sean Herman Moore. Is that somebody I was talking about that I didn't know who they were? Intrinsic One. Shout out to you. That's a name I've not seen. Shout out to Intrinsic One. And if you're not subscribed, do subscribe for my my fact finding that I'm trying to do. Songbird, Siri, how many these badass kids in the car? Oh, I said that. Anjanae 23, greetings to you, Queen. Thank you for coming back, Jedi. I wasn't ready for you to go last night. Man. Sean, Russia invaded Afghanistan in 1980 and whooped that ass. Remember? You mean Afghanistan beat their ass, right? Shelly M, shout out to you. Yes, the doc, Fahrenheit 9/11 by Michael Moore, also addressed America's connection to the Taliban. Yes. Siri, Taliban is a political party, period. The people picked the Taliban. Just like they picked Hamas. Hamas in Palestine is a democratically elected fucking body. That's just what it is. Give a fuck what the white devil says or likes or feels or thinks. It doesn't matter. Hamas is a democratically elected government. They just are. So they are. And in Afghanistan, they've tried to put in these various puppet people. In fact, the dude that was the president, he ghosted up out of there. You know, but obviously the Taliban didn't have to take it by force because the people are with them. The people with them. As I say, you're going to have some who are installed in the country to create chaos and things like that. You're going to have some people pushing back because they don't really want to live under Sharia. But then move your bitch ass someplace else. You're free to go. Like, no hostages here. Take your bitch ass someplace else. This is an Islamic society. It just is. This is what we're doing. Sean, Afghanistan. I read that. Damn it. Ray Supreme, shout out to you. Yes, it's my black cherry and my peach, Sean. Alex Comptech, there's a new name. Skirts to the eyeballs. Siri, latest news is Taliban declares women be given equal rights. And again, that's propaganda because they don't need to declare it. The women know they have equal rights. Listen, you're not a Muslim if you don't understand that. You just wouldn't be. These are Muslims. They know that they can't just make things up. They can't. And you can't oppress where there shouldn't be oppression. And certainly the woman, listen, the Quran says to us as Muslims, Allah says to mankind that paradise lays at the feet of the woman. That's just what it is. Again, telling you about her status and who she is in the eyes of Allah. Like I tell my women, I tell you, Allah is not playing about you. Not playing. Not playing. That's why you need to get your ass up on your throne and perch. Cheryl. Oh, that's Deshaun. Yeah. Anjanae, that's true. Studies show that if something is said in a British accent, it is more likely to be believed. There it is. And you go on to say, watch the news on mute with no sound and focus only on what you see. Yes, I never remember this. I don't know if I've ever even said that to you all, but that's something I do. Wow. Like, it's a different context. It's different. You see more and you it's a different feeling. It's a whole thing is different. You have to do that. You have to watch shit with no sound. Then you see certain patterns. You see in how they present, as well as the information that they're presenting. But that's very true. And like I say, the British accent is something I picked up on as a child because I used to, since I was a kid, I used to imitate people. You know, my family would be like, Mark so and so. They call it marking. You know, if somebody has something interesting about them, or you speak with an accent, or you walk a certain way, or you do something that stands out, we all pick up on it. They know I get it. And so as soon as you leave, they say, Mark so and so. So that's was kind of my introduction to the British accent, their style of reporting. You know, um, it was always very dramatic, and it hits a different center of the brain. I feel like, you know, I don't know how old I was when I realized that, oh, they're using this like that, like they use that, because I just began to notice a pattern. Like every time I see anything be reported of great, that's of some great gravity, especially if it's overseas, suddenly the motherfucker's British. Suddenly. Suddenly. I can't. Siri, as soon as I hear a Brit speak, it's all lies. You've been around me too long. That sounds like me. Because the way you wrote it and everything, I get it. Starlight, welcome back. Morning, Jedi. Blessings to you. Blessings back at you, Starlight. They are videos of the women crying from fear from their homes. You see what I'm saying? They already start with the propaganda. But some of that's going to be mixed, because one of the things you must understand is when they came in 2001, there was one lady that was saying, we just were done with war. So we just thought they're going to do to us when they, because many of them was only hearing about Osama bin Laden for the first time also. And she was like, I just thought they were just to come in and do to us what they did to Nagasaki and Hiroshima. They would come in with their nuclear weapons and we would just be no more. So many people weren't even interested in trying to leave. They're just kind of bogged down from fear and running and being afraid and shit. And at some point you do just give up and it's like, fuck it. Whatever happens, I don't have the energy to be afraid anymore. I just can't. And, you know, and then they begin to see that the U.S. military didn't seem to be so concerned about them, but were more interested in fighting the Taliban. That's in 2001, you see? And so, of course, that's why they villainized Osama bin Laden to you, because he was the Taliban dude. Allegedly their leader, allegedly, because I never talked to Osama. He didn't call me. You feel me? He didn't text me. He didn't tell me. So it's from a white devil, so it's more likely not the truth. CJ Mendoza. Shout out to you, Queen. And blessings be upon you as well. Starlight, Afghans are Shia, not Sunni. They are Sunni, but it doesn't matter, because the Quran is the same, whether you Sunni or Shia. But the most powerful thing I can say to you is that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not Sunni or Shia. He was just Muslim. So it doesn't make any difference. Siri, boom. Fear and desire for white accolades and acceptance, which in my mind is not an accolade or an acceptance or anything to aspire to or achieve for. I'm over it. Anjane 23 to Starlight. Even then, I don't trust it, because they've used crisis actors and old footage from different traumatic situations to manipulate in the past. Yes, and CNN is very good for that shit. Like when I spoke last night, I was telling you guys even, some of that shit we may have seen, it could have been stock footage for all we know. I mean, you don't know. I was, trust me, I was checking the corners to see if it said file footage or stock or anything like that. But this is a high time of propaganda right now because this fucking Afghanistan means a lot to their fucking money, dude. So they're gonna do whatever they gotta do and say what they gotta say to make you think a certain way. Meanwhile, they're already tried to set the stage for you to make it seem like there was all this fleeing for the country and they were just, oh my God, and none of it was happening. So that when at the same time they're telling you Biden wants to send fucking 6,000 troops because that then there will be bombing and fighting and shit, and there will be shots going off then, which there was none going off yesterday or whatever day I was reporting about. But they will cause that, and you're supposed to just tie that to that, and it's just that's been going on. It's not because the U.S. has come in, when it's exactly because their bitch asses have come in. Listen, before the Iraq war, the Iraq aggression started, there was Bush on TV and every other liar talking about, we're going to use all diplomatic means, war is not off the table, but we're leaving everything on the table and all the bullshit. And I knew people that were in the military that were already over there striking on shit. It was already happening. It was already happening. That's why I always tell you, when they're talking to you, when they're telling you about something, it's already happened. It already happened. So it's not Biden wants to send 6,000 troops. The bitch probably sent them days ago. It's already happened. They're just letting you know now. Richard Hart. Hi, Jedi. Did you hear about the American Embassy in Kingston, Jamaica, raising the fucking pixie flag on Jamaica Independence Day instead of the traditionally flown Jamaican? I did not know about that, Richard. And am very surprised by it because I saw documentaries years ago. It was in Jamaica. It was a whole documentary on now. If it wasn't all the documentaries about, it was certainly a major fixture of it. I think this was specifically on the fucking gay pixie shit in Jamaica. And because many of them were sleeping in like these like when you under the freeway or you and at the or something like that, or like you under the street, or just like places they just couldn't be places, and be out with that shit. And so knowing that that's the atmosphere in Jamaica, how would they be raising a flag? I'll have to find out, but I did not know about that. And that's the other detail, I told you this when I was trying to start the Black Independence Liberation League. The motherfuckers have a flag, bitch. We should be claiming a flag. If we're not going to produce one, then we need to just then represent the RBG. You understand? At the very least, we are not a nation under a flag, under a crest, under an umbrella that unifies and identifies us. While at the same time you have all these fucking black people walking around talking about black people are not monolithic. Then die off, bitch, because we're looking for monolithic up in this bitch. That's what we're looking for. And if you don't have that, then we just don't need you to be alive and breathing at all. CJ Mendoza. I don't trust the jab, the vaccine. But then the government isn't trustworthy. Driven by their history, smallpox, Tuskegee, genocide, etc. Nagasaki, Hiroshima, fucking Vietnam War, the fucking Gulf of Tonkin incident, the Northwoods incident, the death of Kennedy, the death of Dr. King, the death of Robert Kennedy, the death of Malcolm X. I mean, we could just keep going. We have the proof and the evidence that this is not people that you trust a fucking thing for, ever, at all, for any reason. Anjane, when you watch news with sound, you're looking for what they tell you you're seeing. When you watch with no sound, you simply observe what you see. That's right, Jedi. And I love the way you said that, because I think I was trying to say that in like 5,000 words, and that says it. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I had meant. That's what I had said the whole time, though. But that's what I had already. But I had said that and stuff. That y'all didn't hear me. I had said it. We all know somebody like that. My third to the oldest sister, that lying whore. That's her though. But she don't be. She means it. Be like, Jamila, you didn't say that. But that's what I was saying the whole time. I had said, since I've been alive. That's her ass. So you get to a point where you let her get it all out and clarify what the bitch said. So when some new information come, she still don't mind. It still don't mean anything. She'll still proclaim that that's what she had said. I can't. Cheryl, the media is the propaganda arm of white supremacy. Yes. The mouthpiece, you know. Cheryl, the job of white supremacist media is to tell you what to think. Exactly. And only that, and not shit else. Siri, wow. Crisis footage as in actors. Yes, Siri. It's something they've been doing for quite some time. In fact, I will tell you that even one of my friends, my friend Kim, I've shown you all pictures of her. There's times when I put up videos and I'm trying to share a piece of myself with you, and I put up montages of pictures and I'll narrate what they are so you know who you're looking at and stuff like that. My friend Kim was there for me when I was injured back in 2010, when I was in a wheelchair for just over a year. And one of the things that she shared with me was, because there's a military base that's not too far from where I live, and this just came up again because I was watching something with Uncle, and I was telling him, I was like, Uncle, they actually have where it's like, but Kim was part of this. They, at this military base, and I suspect there's others, they literally set up shit that looks like you're in fucking the Middle East, if we're gonna use that term, which we hate. But you'll have all the shit. Like, it'll look like you're in Kabul, Afghanistan, and they have the women dressed like the women would dress, and the men are dressed like, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. It's supposed to be for training, but if you can train there, then you probably can film there too. So there's that. But yes, it's a real thing, Siri. Melanin 100. Yes, they put. I'm doing really good for time. They put a pixie flag. I'm not saying my alphabet every fucking time I say these goddamn people. They put a fucking pixie flag and American flag on their embassy on Jamaica Independence Day. Locals was not happy. They felt mocked, because those are African people, and like I say, this shit is anti-African. No matter where we exist, we just not having it. You know, this ain't the love the sin, hate the sinner bullshit, because we really don't, like, we're just not a people that hate you for who you are. We just, sadly, we're not that type of people, historically. And we need to understand that we need to be that way when it comes to this white devil. Like, we don't like a fucking thing about you, down to the fact that you exist and breathing. We cannot stand it. But as it relates to these pixie ass people, we really ain't actively seeking you out to condemn you and shit. I think I speak for most African people on the planet when I say all this trying to put this shit in our face and connect your whole fucking life to this shit. We will run you over for this shit. We will mow you down to your fucking grill, homie. You understand? That's the issue. That's the issue. Because we're kind of busy being oppressed. We really don't got time for you either. We're kind of being oppressed right now. We're kind of being killed every fucking day. We really don't got time for your pixie ass. And your bullshit. Intrinsic one. I've been subscribed for a few years now. Oh wow. My team will tell you I don't see your name like that. I'm honored, but I don't. This is a new name to me. But I'm glad you've been with me. Were you with me back with my old channel before I got shut down? Um, um, I'm saying vaccine. I get y'all, but y'all do what you want to do. Like you can still put jab and poke and all that stuff. Y'all can do that. I'm not subscribing to it. Because you know me to be a man who just calls a thing a thing. That's what it is. Akulu Galan Savida. Just say what it is. Cheryl, the United States is attempting to psychologically colonize the minds of Jamaicans. Wouldn't be the first time. With the Pixie flag and the Pixie agenda to get them to argue over the Pixie agenda and not fighting their white ass. My words, not yours. You know, they're not only propagating it here, but then they feel like they have to spread it across the earth. They're you know, white ass fucking journalists and shit. Now when they sit down with black leaders of any stripe, they always got to ask them about this bullshit. Like, there's no answer to be given on that. What people do in their bedroom is their own fucking business, and they don't get shit special for that. What's your next question? Richard, CNN used those Middle East mock-ups you mentioned to fake missile attacks on Israel during the first Gulf War. The footage of them faking it is right here on YouTube. There it is. So, and also for you, Siri, that's something you might want to check out too, because it's a real thing. You know, a lot of people, even the Sandy Hook shooting, you know, a lot of people had questions at the very least about whether or not that was something that was, because not only that, but we had some of the people weren't having the proper reaction. One of the main kids, his father was kikiing, and then as soon as they said, Mr. So-and-so, then he turned around. You could see him taking all this time to try and get himself worked up and appear like he's all broken down and shit. Well, we won't believe you now. And on YouTube, there's some, you know, there's an ad that comes up sometimes before your video that you're going to watch. Some bitch that was, she's somehow connected to Sandy Hook or something. Like, we're over it, bitch. Why are you coming back again? Because they have to come back. It's like I've told you in the past, they always come back as if it's a new presenting, independent, just sort of random, but here it is again, and it's what we told you to begin with, what we wanted you to feel and think then. This is random. It's not us. It's not us. It's somebody else. Somebody else. But they just happen to be saying the exact same bomb that we wanted you to know. I click away from the bitch, so I don't know what else she has to say. As soon as I heard the bitch say it was Sandy Hook, I click away from her bitch ass all the time. Like, I don't need to. I don't need to. I don't need to. So, one other thing I said, and nobody reminded me, but I reminded myself. I told you all that Bad Girl, who's not here, had sent me something, but she was so over the moon about it that it was something I needed to see. and um, I'm gonna see what it is and what it's about. Yeah, I got about 15 minutes. Um, it's Plano ISD because I asked her if she was even in the live yesterday, and I said, "What is ISD?" I still don't know. I guess we're gonna find out. Plano, whatever that is, ISD will launch outside investigation into allegations of racist bullying. I'd like to buy Val. Um, so Plano School District. Where's Plano? I don't know where Plano is. Plano ISD Superintendent Barbara somebody blah blah something. Maybe it'll tell us. Right. Plano School District is hiring an outside investigator to look into allegations. Wait, let me make sure I didn't have anything else on my other shit that I needed to say to y'all. Um, oh, somebody mentioned also yesterday that Polite was up on charges for the rape of a 14-year-old. I was supposed to follow up on that. I made a note. And also this right now, the last I heard there was 1,400 people. Was it 1,400 people that were killed in the Haiti earthquake? It's some bullshit, man. It's on purpose. This is not an organic earthquake, everybody. This is something that was done by white people. It is. More specifically, probably a CIA operation. You know. Let me see how long this is. Okay, it's not long. Let's see what this is. And why Bad Girl felt so passionate about this. The Plano School District, which I don't know where Plano is hiring an outside investigator to look into allegations white students bullied and used racial slurs against a black haggard middle school classmate. Are they calling the black classmate haggard, or is that the name of something? The Plano School District is hiring a firm of allegation that white fucking devils use racial slurs against a black haggard middle school classmate. Maybe the school is called Haggard Middle School. Plano Superintendent Sarah Bonzer met Tuesday with Summer Smith, the mother of the teenager who says he was bullied by former football teammates into drinking urine at a sleepover party where he was also called racial slurs. First of all, I'm stopping right there. Because you shouldn't have shit to do with fucking white kids at fucking all. You don't need to be on their football team. Because A, that's a career that's going nowhere. You have a better chance of being struck by lightning 5 times on the same day in the same place than your bitch ass having a fucking NFL career. That's first. Second of all, so that's a waste of time. And there should be no sleepovers at white people's houses for any reason at all. You should not be consuming food at their house or doing anything at their fucking house ever in life for any reason. So anything that happens to you when you put yourself in that fucking position, you get what you got. We're done with this story. I'm over it. And I've already brought you the empirical evidence here on the channel. Once again, I brought you where you can go and watch the videos for yourself. The documentary that Anderson Cooper and CNN and a team of fucking people did on bullying in school. The people who come to school and start all the shit is fucking white kids. Every time you see an older actress or older famous black person of any stripe, they always talk about, I went to school and my hair was made fun of. I'm sure it wasn't by other little black girls. or little black boys. It was fucking white people. You understand? The stench of all existence. So this is not surprising. Not surprising. But instead of you telling your kids before they head to school, listen, when you get to school, it's gonna be these white motherfuckers there. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna try you, and the moment they do, you take their motherfucking head off. And if there are any problems, we gonna come up there and back you the fuck up. And this is boo woo. Nah, you love everybody and get along, and you letting them bring them home and be friends and shit. When you make the bed, you lie in it. I can't help you. I don't think I'm going to look into the polite thing because, but I almost started to make a statement on him yesterday that I didn't finish. I think it was right around the time that it froze, so I'll just say this. Without knowing anything about his case, I'm not surprised because last time that I knew, and I haven't seen or heard from this brother in several years, so I don't know if he's still on the scene or I don't know. But I know when I first started on YouTube, he became known to me. One of these know-it-all people that's always debating somebody, and he seemed respectable enough, whatever. But I know that he lives or had at some point been living what most people would consider an unconventional type of relationship thing. I feel like he had either multiple girlfriends or multiple wives type of situation set up. And he strikes me as a brother who it wouldn't be foreign to him the days of old when girls could get married at 13. Like once you hit puberty, you pretty much, who decided that you have to be a certain age? Because there was a time when you didn't have to be that. And indeed, we all have friends, and some of us are kids who came from parents who had us very young as fuck. We either know somebody or we're that child. Right now, all of us here right now, we either know somebody or we're that child. We know. So, it was interesting because when I was getting my passport when I was getting my birth certificate together for my passport, it was just something to look back and see how young my parents were when I was born. Like my mom was in her early 20s when she gave birth to all of this. And I'm the 8th child. I'm the 9th child. I'm technically the 10th child because there's 9 with my brother that passed before I was born. He had water on the brain. But I'm the last child from my mama. Like that's gonna always be my claim. So, but they were young, and so we know even now there's, people going around getting pregnant at younger ages, and I could see him being someone who would understand that concept. Having said that, it's probably not true. Polite, while he's not the supermodel that I am, even Tyson envies me, and there's a few other people. I don't want to get into names. That'll be in the book. I don't want to discuss it. But he's not what I would call an ugly man, and he has a certain je ne sais quoi and masculinity about him that is admirable. And I would just think that females would really like him. He don't really need to get no 14-year-old. And if he was caught up somehow with a 14-year-old, I would go out on a limb and defend the brother in advance before reading and knowing anything that he probably know she was 14. Because 14-year-olds don't look like 14-year-olds, or male or female. Even this shit I was telling you guys earlier, I was watching this Smash or Pass. I'm assuming those were high school kids, but these niggas is up there with full beards. Like, I didn't get even this, y'all, till I was well out of my I don't know, because I remember my brother, he's 7 years older than me, so I used to my sisters now, I had just enough peach fudge, you couldn't see it though, and my sisters then would take whatever that shit y'all use for your lashes, they would use real lightly to make my mustache come out, and I could use my brother's ID. But but just nobody was walking around with full beards and shaving and shit. You know, like when I was a teenager, I looked like a teenager. Here I go, y'all. No session with the Jedi is complete without show and tell. This is your boy on graduation day 2020. Don't ask questions. That's your boy at 17. That's your boy. And you'll see no hair on my face, and I was not shaving. So I just use this to say that these young dudes now, like, they fully fucking shaving and shit. Like, and they're like a freshman in high school and shit. So 14 is relative right now to me. You know, would you say you look like your nephew to me? I'm way cuter. Yeah, it's me. It's me. It's me. They're all. It's me. It's me. That's your boy. When I was 17, I did what people told me. Did what my father said and let my mother mold me. But that was a long ago. I'm in. Never gonna stop. So I don't understand how these kids have now. You know, and they're wearing a man-sized shoe and shit. You know, so 14 is just relative to me now. You know, especially with these young girls, and over the time, you know, there was a time you wouldn't get past the front door without somebody snatching your ass back. You going out trying to look too fast, get your ass back in there. Now the girls are right alongside their mama when she's buying the bundles and the lashes and all the other shit to spackle up their faces with, and then poof, she doesn't look 14 anymore. You know, and they're developing breasts at 8 years old now practically. It's a whole thing. You know, I don't know about it, but I'm willing to just give the brother the benefit of the doubt on it and say that this is some bullshit. You know, has he been formally charged? I don't know that. Somebody, who was it that mentioned it? I don't remember who mentioned it, but asked me had I heard about it. And so 4 minutes. Let me come back to your comments and see if there's anything I missed. I feel like I got a lot in for some reason. At least that's how it feels on my end. I'm definitely changing my thumbnail picture. Thank you, Sean. Plano's in Texas, everybody. Thank you, Anjane. Cheryl, the end goal of the Pixie is to keep the Jamaican people distracted and from fighting. I read that. Right? Anjane. Polite raped his 32-year-old girlfriend's 14-year-old daughter. It appears legit so far. Very sad. Oh, damn it. How do I even fucking... Polite charged with rape of a 14-year-old? I don't even know his name. Brother Polite. Okay, we're gonna come back to that. Let me see what your comments are real quick though. What am I doing? you see, again, this is why in Islam and what Allah has provided for mankind, you don't have men mixing with women in inappropriate ways and spaces. You don't you don't do that. It guards against any shit like this. Richard, sleepover. Sleepover. Did you see what happened to Tamla Horsford during an all-white, apart from herself, sleepover? I didn't know that was her name, but I've heard of something recently, or not, something to do with that. Like there's a case. CJ Mendoza, Jedi, how do you feel about men having more than one wife? It's greedy, and it's impossible. Even Allah says to mankind, you can have more than one wife in Islam, up to 4, but nobody ever talks about the verse that Allah goes on he's challenging the man's ego before he even has it, to say, you're not going to be able to fully satisfy and take care of each one of them 100% equally, because only I as God would be able to do that. So it's better for you if you just have one. Having said that, there's, in African culture, there are outside of Islam, you can have up to 4 wives, and some have more than that. I think it can be, taking religion out of it, just if I take it as a community type thing, but Islam provides for that. But just forget that for a minute, though. I'm here for it. Not for the sake of romance. I can't, nor am I interested in loving more than one woman. Like, that's it. I'm someone who loves very hard and intensely, and it's a storied tier of feelings and emotions, and I just don't see myself spreading myself out over more than one wife for that. Like, nah, we good. Let's say you're married and your wife becomes disabled in some way, or maybe she goes through something, she no longer desires you or something like that, and she's okay with you having another wife, or maybe you take another wife who's not interested in your romance, but she's a good sister wife for your wife as far as a companion and rearing your children and things like that. I mean, I can come up with some scenarios where it's like, yeah, let's do that type thing, but it would be a specific conjuring of its own, and not because I wanted anything out of it. And I just think that men that just, with no philosophy behind it, that just think they just desire more than one wife, don't know what they're talking about. And even there's brothers out there that have more than one wife, but the wives don't live together, so there are different houses, different times, and the wives all know. But that's too much busyness for me. It's too much. The atmosphere change. I'm chilling with you, then I'm in a different house. I go over there. It's not for me. For me, it's not. My grandmother was married at 14, says CJ Mendoza. See? I feel like my grandmama, I'd have to go back and do the numbers. I feel like my grandmama, I think she had my father early. I think so, man. I have to go back and figure it out. Anjane, you look like your nephew to me. No, he looks like me, and he wishes he was this good looking, and he's devastated that he will never be, so there's that. And good to see you. Haven't seen your name in a while. Say, oh, nice picture. Hearts from Melanin 100, Kiara. Jedi, this is a random question, but do you think there's such thing as woke white people? Fuck no. And they need to stop saying the word, and I feel nauseous and vomit every time I hear them even reference it. No. You know, nah, get your own fucking vernacular. You understand? If you come into the knowledge of your evil asses, come up with a term for that. I'm okay with that, but don't rock with our shit. You understand? Because it's just not even the same equivalent. No, damn it, no. There are no woke white people. Damn it, no. Damn it. Melanin, microwave babies, I call them. Siri, gorgeous grad photo, but you look the same. I don't think I do. It's interesting you say that because I'm one of these people that talks to myself. And wallahi, I think it was last night or the night before. I think because I have mirrors throughout my house, different places, strategically because of what it does to a room and stuff like that and blah. But I remember saying to myself, wow, I've been looking at the same face, and it's one of those things where you're the same to yourself, but you just know you can't be the same to the world. You can't be. You can't be. Interesting. Kiara, I'm hearing a lot of African folks around me talking about their woke white friends, and something about that statement isn't resonating with me. So I was what you thought. And those black people that are saying that shit should be killed off. So whatever you got, a blowtorch, you feel me, a crossbow, like just, but I can hear their voices because you've heard them too. They're the type. They're your they're your Michael Eric Dysons. He would make a statement like that. The fucker. Teaches at Princeton. He would make a statement. It's a few people, they're so caught up. They're trying to have it like I don't like your ass. I fucking hate you forever. There's no context that's gonna change that for me. Because by the time I don't like your ass, I've done the work to know that I really fucking hate you. And those are people that are buying into that they're still that they're making subsections and shit of white people instead of lassoing their bitches all up as one and throwing them all into the fucking quicksand to fucking die off. I don't do that. What did Riri say? A rose is still a rose. Siri, the singing control. Listen, this man is a Jackson. Show your moves, please. I can't. Man, but I put up stuff for you guys to see me singing and performing and stuff like that, and I feel like I can't remember all the shit that ever got taken down on my fucking other channel, but there is some performance stuff here on this channel, and I did some shit over on brand new tube, whole sections of shit over there. Y'all don't do what I tell you. But as it relates to that comment, I had a piece that I did years ago. I was in my wheelchair after my accident, and I was still in my wheelchair, and this set that me and this brother were doing at this spot. When we were setting up that night, and he had already laid the music down for Lady in My Life. Usually we would put the music down together, but this piece he had just done, and he was like, I put this down. If we were, there weren't people there yet. We were still sort of setting up. And I go, I don't know. I never sang it. I never sang it like in public anywhere. And I gotta tell you that it's everything, dude. Like it's everything. It's everything. It's everything. It's everything. Um, um, Intrinsic one. I just haven't commented. And you're not alone. Sadly, there's a lot of people that sit out there in the shadows behind the mountains and shit and watch me, and it's very frustrating for somebody like myself who seeks to be connected to people. When we ended last night, there was literally, as soon as we ended, the view count was 300 and something. I know that, you know. And then I can't get my people to cooperate with me on so I can give a firm answer on this shadow banning or whatever the fuck is going on with my channel, because people don't do what I ask them to do. I ask people, can you just subscribe to help me see if the number moves? You can unsubscribe after that. That's fine. I don't even fucking care. But I need to find this out, because there's no way that I went from a man who went from 2014 or 15 from 0 to 23,000 people by 2016. It was a meteoric rise. And I moved here in 2017. I've been in this apartment since 2017, 18, 19, 20, 21. 4 years it will be in October. Ironically, the same month I'm leaving. I just made that tie up right now. I just made that tie up. But and there's a video here on the channel where I went live and I was like, what's up, everybody? This is the Jedi. I don't know if you can see me because my channel had been shut down, and it's the whole thing. So there's no way that dude went from that many to now I'm not moving at fucking all. I'm just frozen at 3,300 and something, or 80, I think. Richard, Tamla died during the sleepover. Wow. I don't know if I remember that detail. Intrinsic, your energy attracted me. I'm only familiar with this channel. I love how you're managing this content. It's exerting strength and power. Oh wow, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know what else to say. I'm deeply moved. That's wow. Thank you. Was anybody else floored by what I just read? Like it's me, and I'm not even like as if it's me. I'm just like, wow, what a kind comment. I don't have the words. Kiara, thank you. I knew I wasn't tripping. What? Wait, let me go back to your previous. I'm hearing, about the woke white folks. No. Hey, listen. Plus, it also associates them with us, and that's just not doable for me. Like I seen some brothers sitting in a landing. I don't remember what they were talking about. Something to do with hip hop, probably. But there's this Asian dude up there in full like gear and shit. Leave, bitch. And just that they're even giving him even legitimacy to sit there. There's got to be some. Listen. If you don't belong, I close the door on your bitch ass. I have no problem doing that. And if I was in that setting and they were in a barbershop, and by the way, the brothers' barbershop was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty. The flooring, it was everything. But I know me, and I would have been like, oh, why are you here? Why are you here? You don't talk like that. That's not the shit you. Your parents, I'm sure, speak only Mandarin. Take your shit. You trying to sit up in here like you one of us and shit. I've been over that shit since I knew it existed. Okay, it just quit and came back, y'all. So we're landing. I'll just read the last comments and we're out. I do want to say thank you to everybody who came and was part of the stream today. Anjani23. I first found the Jedi when he made that video about Jesse Williams' black wife and white women were all upset. It was hilarious. And oh, how Jesse let us down. So there was that. Yeah. So I wanted to come back today, everybody, and because it wasn't finished last night. So I wanted to come back and do this. I feel like today is Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. So if I don't see you before the weekend, then probably we'll be together over the weekend. Or if there's something, you know, the Haiti thing is shifting and moving, and so is the Afghani thing. It's shifting and moving. Both things of which I'm highly interested in, and so and there could be some other things along the way that I feel like I really just have to deal with. I'm also interested in the polite thing, so I know that I want to talk about that because it's a real thing apparently, and I want to know what it is. So we'll get to those things. Again, I thank you all for your time, and I just ask Allah that I have been worthy of your time, that your glass is fuller now than when you came to me. Don't type anything else, you guys, because I'm not going to read it. I'm making my summation now. I'm saying goodbye. Wait, now. I thought I saw a comment. So hopefully your cup is fuller than when you came to me, and that I have left you something that is useful to your life, that has brought you understanding, something that will move you, the individual, in some way. I love you. I'll see you soon.